Hello and welcome back to Down the Track. This is the review for the India versus New Zealand second T20. India winning comfortably by 7 wickets and sealing the series. They've won the Paytm Trophy 2-0, and yeah, it's been a convincing win. Tosses going in their favor, batting better, bowling better, especially in the death overs, and overall a good performance from them. If you look at this game in isolation, New Zealand got off to a flyer. Guptill and Mitchell batted brilliantly, especially Guptill was hitting those sixes with ease, unbelievable shots, and Mitchell was supporting him well. Then came in Chapman. He scored a few runs. Glenn Phillips came and he was looking very dangerous. At one time, I thought New Zealand would get 180 easily, pushing towards 200, but 180 would have been a really good score on this pitch. There's a lot of dew and stuff, so even 180 would have been difficult to defend, but it would have been competitive. And but unfortunately, they just couldn't get there. India in the beginning, Bhuvneshwar, Deepak Chahar being very expensive. Herschel Patel dragged it back along first with Ashwin and Akshar Patel. They were brilliant as well. Akshar Patel got hit initially, but then he came back brilliantly. Ashwin has been outstanding this whole series. I think since he's been playing in the T20 team, even in the last 2-3 games in that World Cup, Ashwin has been fantastic. He's using his variations, bowling smart, flighting it as well, not only bowling those quicker ones. Ashwin's problem initially in 2017 was that he was bowling too flat, and that led him to being dropped from the limited over side. But now he's flighting it. He has variations. He can bowl the leg spinner as well, and he has all the experience and he can keep his nerve. So that's a big positive. Harshal Patel on debut, brilliant figures. If you just look at it, in his 4 overs, 25 runs, 2 wickets. He came in the back end and he bowled fantastically well, especially in the death overs is outstanding. His dot ball percentage was something very surprising. He bowled around 10 to 12 dot balls. Outstanding bowling. He didn't give New Zealand anything, and especially his last 2 overs were outstanding. And also, like initially, when he did get hit for a few boundaries here and there, what happened was the next ball he would get a wicket, and that slows down the run rate. So, a credit to him for that. And wickets does slow down the run rate. That's why I always say that you need a leg spinner in the team. With Harshal Patel, he's a different kind of fast bowler. He has a lot of variations. He has those cutters and slower balls and knuckle balls and everything. So he really in these conditions can be very effective. And when batsmen try to go and hit him, right, and sometimes they just cannot connect, and that's why he gets catches on the boundaries. He's kind of like a spinner in that sense, but fantastic debut for him, and well-deserved man of the match. He was absolutely outstanding. Ashwin for me was the second runner-up for man of the match. If you look at his figures, 4 overs, 19 runs, 1 wicket, economy of 4.775, outstanding. New Zealand, again, the issue has been finishing. Nisham, Seifert, Mitchell Santner, all three struggling to finish off games, finish off the innings well. You look at the strike rates, 86 for Seifert, 25. James Neesham, 3 of 12 balls, 25 run strike rate. That is very poor. Mitchell Santner, 8 of 9, strike rate of 88. So the strike rate has been an issue for New Zealand, especially in the death overs. And again, maybe that's that pressure of they need to get 200, but I think they should have just played according to the ball. The ball was wet and it was coming onto the bat, so I don't know why they struggled so much. Of course, there was very clever bowling, but I think also batting, they just try to hit everything off the park. They have to be a bit more smart in the shot selection, and they just couldn't do that, New Zealand, today. And that was the issue for them in the first innings, and they just didn't have enough runs on the board. If you look at the second innings, Rohit and Rahul, fantastic partnership, again 100+ run partnership, taking that Rohit Sharma taking his time, Rahul aggressive from the outset, some brilliant straight drives. He played the hook shot, played one shot like over covers for 6, a flat 6, so he was looking in really good touch. Rohit was slow to start, but that over from Santner, that was the moving over. Like the commentators were saying that India have wickets in hand, but the run rate is getting high now. If they lose wickets trying to hit runs, it's going to be difficult for the middle order, and it would have been. But that over was the moving over. Rohit hitting Santner for like around 17 runs and really putting India in the driver's seat, and that turned the game for sure. But their partnership was very good. Look calm and composed. They didn't go too aggressive. A lot was talking about will India's method change. I haven't seen too much change. I just feel that some fresh legs there, and also learning from their mistakes. They learned from what they did in the T20 World Cup. One is winning the toss with that's luck, right? But if you just look at their actual method, it's still similar to what they were playing under Virat Kohli. It's just Harshal Patel coming in, picking up wickets. Ashwin, bowling really well, and Bhuvneshwar finding his length in the death overs. Like, he was expensive in the power play, but in both games, death overs have been superb, and he could not do that in the T20 World Cup. So it's just these players learning from their mistakes, being more accurate, and that's what you can ask for, right? With the World Cup now just a year away, learning from the previous World Cup and really improving and trying to trying to improve in the future, and that's exactly what India have to do. And it looks like they're on the right track. Again, a few issues I think in the middle order, like Surya Kumar getting out, Venkatesh Iyer, Rishabh Pant. Pant finished it off in style, but Venkatesh Iyer looked kind of nervous, but it was good. Like, he got those runs, 12 of 11 balls. It's not easy international cricket. Those shots that he was playing in the IPL, they won't be easily executed in the international stage, and that's something he has to be wary about. But I think experience will teach him. And these are the games you need these guys to play, the likes of Venkatesh Iyer, Herschel Patel. Get them into these games so that there's less pressure. And of course, there's always pressure playing for India, but there's less pressure compared to an ICC tournament. And this is how you ease them into the team. With Gaikwad as well. For Gaikwad right now, it's difficult to get into the team, but when he does this, these are the games, these bilateral series. But credit to India, batted really well. One thing I would say for both teams, the fielding was poor. India particularly dropped a few catches. New Zealand, Trent Bolt in particular, who's such a good fielder, he dropped a catch of Rohit Sharma, a crucial catch at a crucial stage. He hit Shannon for 2 sixes, but if he got out at that time, would have built a bit more pressure, like in that last game that New Zealand did. But he dropped that catch. Both teams, I think the ball was slippery, but still no excuse. You practice with the wet ball in practice, and you take those catches, and you'll have to implement that in the game as well. And that's something they'll both have to work on in the next game. But for New Zealand, it's about trying to just get one win under their belt on this tour, and for India, it's trying to get that clean sweep and confidence going into the Test series, and now forgetting about what happened in the T20 World Cup. And of course, those cards will still be there. But it's about improving, and that's what they're doing slowly. So credit to them for that. For me, the player of the match has to be Herschel Patel. I agree with the actual man of the match award. He was really good. If New Zealand won, I would have given it to Tim Southee just because of his figures. Also 4 over 16 runs, 3 wickets. He was outstanding, and credit to him for captaining the side and still putting out these figures. It's tiring as a fast bowler to not only bowl 4 overs, but then you have to field, and he was diving around, and then he was captaining as well, making the bowling changes, fielding changes. So a special shout out to Tim Southee. He was my New Zealand player of the match, but overall player of the match, Herschel Patel, outstanding figures on debut, and he's going to be a good challenge for batsmen in future games as well, especially in the T20 format. He's a wicket taker. He will get hit for runs. We saw Jadeja hit him for 4, 5, 6s in the IPL in 1 over, so he will get hit for runs. But if he can pick up wickets, that automatically slows down the run rate and puts pressure on the opposition team, and that's what they want from Herschel Patel. Good to see the way Rohit Sharma used him as well, a bit in the middle to end overs, not really in the beginning. And that was good. And Ashwin bowling well again. Power play, no issues. He has a ton of experience. I still would like to see a leg spinner there, just a wicket taker there. Of course, they're doing a good job, but especially with the World Cup in Australia, big grounds. The flatter bowlers will be worked around for 2 3s. There'll be a lot of 3s on offer in Australia. So I think someone like a Chahal, even a Rahul Chahal, Ravi Bishnoi, these guys flighting the ball on those big grounds, they will get a lot of catches. So I would really like to see a leg spinner in this team. I don't know how they're going to fit it in. Maybe play one fast bowler less, or they'll have to work something out, but I would love to see a leg spinner in this Indian team. That's something I feel that is missing. But apart from that, a great series for India. Again, the top order doing well. When they don't do well, that's when you want to see when Rahul and Rohit get out in the power play. That's what I want to see, what the middle order do, what they're made of, what skill they're made of, and maybe in the third match we can see that. And let's see how it goes. Maybe some players will get rested as well. We would like to see some squad rotation because there's a lot of games, especially the Indian team is always on the road playing games, so some rotation won't be a problem as well in that third T20. And let's see how it goes. Until then, thank you so much for joining me. Stay tuned for the latest content. We covered the Bangladesh-Pakistan game earlier. Hope you enjoyed that review. This was the India-New Zealand one, and we'll continue with our reviews. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, take care.